Anything. Mark Halperin, you were up in New Hampshire this weekend, and the early reviews are in. Jon Huntsman,
really impressive.
I'm surprised.
Really impressive.
The real deal. People up there said he and his wife were as good as they've seen on the campaign trail. Mika, of course, has been talking him down for months now, saying there's no way this guy can
sort of
do
like
anything.
Obama, I said.
But Jon Huntsman and his wife together, is it safe to say the most impressive team you've seen on the campaign trail since Barack Obama emerged?
As impressive as any couple I've seen, and they're not perfect, and they're gonna. I think he'll probably grow as a candidate. But given that he's not ever done this, given that he's been in China, immersed in U.S.-China relations for the last 2 years, I was pretty blown away by how effective he was.
So here's a question: how comfortable is he in his skin?
More than Barack Obama and George Bush, and they, for me, in my career, have been the gold standard.
Really?
More? So important to be in politics comfortable. He's running in a field where authenticity is going to be an issue for some of the candidates, and again, he's just clearly comfortable with his place in the world, comfortable. He was in a VFW hall.
Playing pool, you said.
He was in a gun shop. He was at a Harley shop. He was giving speeches and doing town meetings, and for a guy just starting out, I was really impressed.
I was telling Mark earlier, I received several reports. A couple of people called me. I called a couple of people. There are many component parts of New Hampshire, as Mark knows, as everyone knows. Two of the keys are Keene, New Hampshire area on the Vermont border, and the seacoast, Portsmouth, New Hampshire. And people in both areas told me, one person told me that Huntsman and his wife reminded him, he's an elderly guy, of John F. Kennedy. He said the guy was so smooth, the guy was so comfortable, so handsome, so articulate, so composed. He was stunned.
There were a number of trackers, Democrats and liberals with their video cameras following him around, and one of the liberal trackers said, "I really like this guy." He's got crossover appeal, which is what Republicans need, and he's got a theory about how to beat the president.
But you talk about him being like JFK. Is this someone who stand? My question is, does he stand for something, or does he just stand against Obama? That's actually my big question. When you see the commercial, for example, which was a tremendous commercial.
Well, no, we're talking about Jon Huntsman. That was Tim Pelini's commercial.
Was that Pelini's commercial?
How's your movie going?
I got to get under the table then. It's that early in the morning.
So, well, actually, you know, though, it's interesting, though, you bring up something interesting
That's a good point.
Mr. Magoo, which is he actually not only does he not stand against the president, he worked for the president for 2 years. The question is, what does that mean to voters?
I may be wrong about this, but I think that's an issue easily diffused.
Easily.
There are no
in
perfect
fact,
candidates
it can
in the
be
race.
helpful and interesting and give him a perspective and a sense of balance that others don't have.
And he is an expert on
No, you guys have not listened to me for about a year on this, and now you're like it's big news.
Let me try that. Mika, roll my.
I'm sorry.
He is expert on U.S.-China relations, which is at the center of America's challenge for the next generation or two. And you know, he worked for the president in a national security position, and he left the job, and he answered the call to service. One of the guys who introduced me at one of the events framed it just that way. I just do not think that'll be.
You know what? I think it actually makes him stronger as he tries to win swing states. In the fall, if he gets there.
You're going to roll your eyes again?
No.
I don't know about the rest of the country, and I certainly don't know about the composition of the bulk of the Republican delegates. But in the areas of New Hampshire, where I was speaking to people, his response that the president asked me to do this, and any president who asks you to do it as a citizen, you have to do it. He likes the president personally. Yeah. He's a good man.
That's what we want to hear.
Except Huntsman has a different idea about the 21st century economy.
Right.
And then he recites, based upon his experience, it goes over pretty well. People are ready for a civil conversation.
They are. They really are.
And he is a morning Joe candidate. He ended all his remarks talking about the importance of civility, not compromise and capitulation, not agreeing with everything the president does, but having a civil conversation in the country. And people respond.
You can like the president and think he's a very good man and a very good husband and a very good father, while believing that his economic policies are ruinous, as do I.
And that is the winning message as a